everybody. Hi, and
Hello.
welcome to the Picking Brains podcast. My name is Charlie. We have Meg, Greg, and
Hello.
Ashley from Scare Directory with us
You gave it
today.
away.
Oh,
It's not Greg.
Chucky! Sorry, I got too excited.
I was going to do the whole interview as Chucky, and you've just ruined it.
Oh, God. Well,
Oh, man.
I would have been interested in how long you could have kept that up. That would have been a bit
Sounds
strange.
weird. Strange.
What is that one?
It's a face hugger.
Face hugger. Nice.
Although I don't know why it's hugging its own nest.
Just feels comfortable at home. I feel that. Rightio, Meg, take us away.
Okay. So, before we get into it, we'll just do a quick intro about Scare Directory in case anyone doesn't know. So, Scare Directory is designed to help you, the scare enthusiast, find scare attractions in your area. So, the way their website works is you just pop your postcode in and all the information about the scare attractions near you are going to be displayed. But initially, it was just a list of scare attractions on a mobile phone, but then a more efficient way of doing things was needed, and that's how Scare Directory came to be. And it's also designed for fans and attraction owners to share details of either well-established or new scare attractions around the country.
Hell yeah.
Sounds good.
I love on your website you have a map of like where
Yeah.
everything is. I feel like I just really love that because then you can see where everything is in location because I think quite visually. So,
Yeah, that's how it actually. That was the first thing that was on there. So
Oh.
before I redesigned it. So the first release was pretty much just the first thing I greeted with was a big map.
yeah.
And then that was great, but on mobile that was really awkward for people to use. So that's where the map was moved down further. You can still go to a full screen map if you want to,
Oh,
but that
nice.
was why the map was moved further down because unfortunately it just not on all mobile devices. It just sort of kind of fell over a bit. So it's and it's always been about that. It's always been about much more about finding attractions and
Yeah.
getting. So we're still new. We don't have loads of other people's reviews yet. But that's kind of my ambition is to become kind of almost like a Wikipedia / TripAdvisor of scare attractions. So
I love that.
the aim is to list
Nice.
and so one thing we're looking at is getting more history of scare attractions in there. So
Oh.
Nice.
I came at this from like an archiving and sort of documenting the industry perspective, not so much critiquing it or offering, even though we do have reviews on there, the reviews are purely a byproduct of us wanting content for our website. What we really want to do is focus on sort of, pick a random attraction, talk to the owners, get some really interesting information about the history, populate a really detailed kind of page about that attraction, and then also list the latest events that are happening at that attraction. So that's kind of where I want to go. It's nowhere near there yet because there's only 3 of us who do any of the stuff, and I'm the only one who does the web stuff. Everyone else is just writing the reviews. So it's just me. So I have to juggle it with my actual day job, and so it will take time. But the aim is to just sort of have loads of information, and it was like inspired by like the roller coaster database and all those sort of things that are out there. That I was like, oh, how could I do something similar but for the scare industry?
How long has it been going?
So we had our first full year last year, and then it started just before. So I covered some of the Christmas attractions in 2018, and they were the first ones we kind of talked about. And then my aim was to get the whole of 2019's attractions in there. And then this year I've kind of just paused it until things settle down a bit, because I don't want to put something on there, because what happens is Google caches this and puts it in as events and stuff. Right. So if I put events in there that are then cancelled or due to this, so I'm holding fire until things are a little bit more steady before I go in and do a massive update of all the stuff that's been announced or been cancelled. So all the events page on there should be quite empty. Really, it's just things that were added way before. Like the only things that are on there are things that were announced really early on and haven't been cancelled. That's pretty much it at the moment.
Life has been cancelled, isn't it?
Oh.
Yeah.
Optimism. Gotta keep that. So
I'm jumping in. What would you have done if the internet didn't exist and there was an old scare directory? Would it be like the Yellow Pages? Would it be like?
That's a good question.
I do
God,
like that.
I reckon it'd have been like a little, like what are they called? Like you used to have little paper like zines. Like people would like
Zines,
print
yes,
out like
yes.
random little like handwritten or like just printed out, and then you just like post it to fans. You know,
Would it be more? Would it be more expensive or less expensive that way?
Scenes can be quite
No,
cheap, you know. You can like handmade, make them from the heart.
Yeah.
Made what? Write them out.
Yeah,
Every single copy.
Yeah, you can.
And distribute it to like 5 people.
It's possible.
Before it needed to be changed again.
Oh, you could do it in like a chain letter and just say everyone sends it to the next person.
Yeah.
Genius. I love it.
I'm for a winner.
To be honest, I don't think it would have existed. It might have been a book or something. If I go through the history of scare attractions, they could potentially be like a book. But I don't think I'd have even thought about it. If
history of scare attractions. Yeah.
Which is why it's directory and nothing else. You know, it's meant to be like a directory. You know, flick through it. Oh, where do I want to go? So yeah, that's the ambition. You know, because we've got good reviewers out there. There's lots of them, and yeah, I don't.
Old people to like pass the time. They used to scroll through the phone book and they used to cross off people that had died. It's a bit like that scare attractions at the moment, isn't it? Like we're sort of scrolling. Oh yeah, that one's gone.
That's so
that one's gone.
Yeah, so I have a spreadsheet that sort of sits behind everything.
That's the modern day equivalent of somebody removing dead people from their phone book.
I need it to plan my Halloween. I need a spreadsheet, and that was also part of it. As I started doing a spreadsheet, I was like, well, I might as well make that a database, and so it was kind of born. So it started with a spreadsheet.
What is your day job? Because you're clearly something to do with tech here.
Yeah, I'm a data analyst by trade.
Oh.
So data and numbers is my thing. But at the moment, I'm a product manager for a new system. But it's still data related, and it's all about data warehouses and stuff. So
yeah.
Never website though. Websites always.
Okay.
I've never worked in web ever, and it's just been the hobby side of it. But because of the database behind this, that's the bit I sort of get interested in.
That's pretty cool. So, like, being, how did you like get into horror? Because you said you started this about a year ago. Like, were you into horror before then, or like, is it like been your whole life?
So, I'm a bit weird with horror. So when I was younger, like I'm talking about really young, scared of everything.
I know that.
You know, up a wimp. Ghost trains with things dangling down from the ceiling. Hated it. And then I don't know, something just changed. Like I think one of my earliest after that was probably like Phantom Manor in Paris. And you know, I enjoyed that. It's brilliant. Still to this day, brilliant ride. And then I think I saw people leaving Passage de la Terre 1 year in Blackpool. And I've always been in theme parks, for donkeys here. And I saw the people leaving, and I was like, oh, I really want to go in there, but I can't remember who I was with now, but whoever I was with didn't want to do it. Didn't want to do it at all. So I went back a year or two later and eventually got to go through it. And I think that was my first scare attraction. And I always say that's my first scare attraction. Before this, I was thinking, and it might have been Screaming Madame Tussauds. It might have been. I honestly can't remember. It was one of those two. Both classics and both ones people remember quite fondly.
Yeah.
So yeah, and I can't remember the question. What was the question now?
How did you get into horror? Yeah.
Oh yeah, and then horror movies. I used to, sleepovers when I was, a kid. Scream was my first like proper horror movie that I watched, and I don't watch as many horror films these days as I used to. I'm much more about immersive and live than horror films. It's not that I don't like them. It's that I think I've not got the attention span. If I'm not fully immersed in something, I really switch off. and like it has to be really gripping, an incredible film. Which is, I'll see them in the cinema, and I can just about do that. If it's dark, I can focus. At home, it's just too many distractions.
Yeah. I mean, sometimes for like horror films nowadays, it's all about like, you know, cheap Halloween film. They'll just make one. There isn't like as many proper good ones like Scream or Friday the 13th that have like a story kind of to it. So I guess that's why. I mean,
I don't know. The Conjuring universe is pretty good. I'd say they're pretty good films. I think.
Yeah.
Like story.
Insidious is okay as well.
Yeah, that's all right. Yeah,
They're
similar
pretty
vibe.
good.
Yeah.
I think the last franchise I really got behind was Saw. Like,
oh yeah.
Until they got to number 4.
Yeah. See, I enjoy it all the way to the end. I'm an exception to the I just like how it's all a big like woven story and everything kind of interrelates with everything else, and it's complicated.
Did they set out to write that story, or did they just add parts on?
I have no idea.
I reckon
I am not a big enough enthusiast to know.
You've clearly been on Saw at Thorpe Park. What do you think of that?
Yes. I like it as a ride.
Was it the earlier incarnation or the later incarnation that you went on? Or both?
Oh, Saw the ride?
Yeah. No, the maze, the scare maze.
So I went opening year, and then I've been on it numerous times since then. I think it had peaks and troughs of moments of being really good, and then moments of, and I think sometimes it's the people you're with, and it was always hands on shoulders, which not a massive fan of. And I'm glad that
some of the set pieces need to be, you know, you need to be in there longer. I think like it would have worked better as a scene maze. I think where you sort of go section to section.
Yeah, because each room was you were quickly moved on, weren't you, from each room?
Yeah.
And it never stood out. Like Thorpe's had some incredible mazes over the years, and I think Saw didn't stand out like some of the other mazes that Thorpe Park have had. You know,
quite small.
Yeah, I thought Thorpe was my problem in my first Scream park that I went to. More so than just a single maze. Because that again, it's not that far from me, so it's quite an easy one to just pop to.
That's cool. Have you been on the ghost train there? Because I've always wondered what that's like.
What? Darren Brown's?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I went on the original
I
ghost train. So I went on the original ghost train in Thorpe before it burnt down. Loved it. Yeah, so there's a really old. No, I'm going to embarrass myself. I can't remember what it's called. So I went on that years ago. It's very kind of like dark ridey. You're sat down in a little vehicle, moves around, a bit like Haunted Mansion. Loved it, but that's not there anymore. I like Darren Brown. Lots of people don't, but I think I'm a big Darren Brown fan though. I love magic and illusion and.
Try working on those trains for hours. Oof. I worked on Darren Brown's ghost train.
Okay.
Oh, did you?
It's like being in a sauna for 8 hours.
Oh dear.
It's so warm in there. Although the good thing is it did break down like all the time, so you got to just sit around not do it.
Yeah, it literally breaks down every single day, like twice a day.
Oh wow! I didn't even know that.
That's the downside. Yeah, I've like been on it, and like the headsets haven't worked quite right. But when it does work, and it's everything's flawless, I really like it.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. I tried to get on it, but the queue was either way too long or it just broke down, and I was just like.
The queue's long because it breaks down every 10 minutes.
For that reason, I never rode the original incarnation of it. So I've only rode the demon version, not the one before it. Just because every time I went, it was either offline, broken, or the queue was too big. So
did you do the one with the shop at the end with the demon in it?
So that's the one it is now, isn't it?
Is it still that one? Is it?
Yeah. So the one with the shop and stuff, and I like that. I like that ending.
Yeah, I thought the ending was it. Getting that costume on was not fun.
I'm now more intrigued about this ride. Now I want to go on it.
It's definitely worth trying.
Yeah, definitely. I don't know how they're going to function. It's not open yet. I don't think. I don't know if it's particularly COVID safe as a ride. Like
headsets.
Your headsets facing people. It's an underground train, so. You're close.
You can't stand up in.
Oh wow! So, what's your favourite experience that you've been to?
So do you want? It depends. What type of experience do you want me to cover?
Zombie experience.
Yeah, we'll start off with that one.
No,
we'll scare experience. We'll start off with that one.
What? That needs to be more specific than scare experience.
So I was talking like
escape room, maze.
Oh.
Maze, or like more immersive theatre, zombies. What?
Yeah,
what
exactly.
Well,
what's your favourite genre
maze
of scare attraction?
So my favourite genre is anything that pushes the boundaries of what I've seen before. So it's not a genre per se. It's I like an attraction that I go through and I see something I've never seen before.
Yeah.
So I like something to surprise me. I'm not easily scared. Like I used to be. I used to jump at everything, but having gone through so many now, it's that initial jump scare doesn't happen, and I appreciate a lot more of the theming, storyline, or like just a clever scare or a clever way of doing something, like false rooms, false doors, things that take you around the thing, or like lead you one direction and actually the scare's over there, and like those sort of things. Last year, I really enjoyed the the way we've kind of started calling them within the scare directing team is like kind of thinking long walks in the dark. So the ones that are outside, and you walk for quite a distance before you get to like a scene. I really quite enjoyed them because they have the opportunity to create different scenes and do different things. And one of the best effects of the year was in one of those, and that was at Scaresville.
Yeah.
I can't remember if it won the Scare Award, but it definitely was nominated. The angel scene was brilliant.
Do tell.
I don't want to give it away in case they bring it back.
True, I guess. Yeah.
So basically, you're at an altar in a church. You kneel down, and then things happen. And I'll leave it at that.
All right.
That just sounds like Sunday church.
Okay, scary things happen. So I didn't actually answer the question, which was the best. So if I was going on last year, I'd say it was Scream Camp. I enjoyed I was amazed that for what was almost about a 10-hour event, there was not much downtime. Like the whole event, something was happening. Not always scary. There was only a handful of scary points, but they were intense scary points. And they were, you needed that kind of rest period between them. Otherwise, it would have been a bit too much. And I think that's how it could appeal to a wider audience. I would never. It's not an extreme attraction. It's an intense attraction. You're tired because it's through the night.
Yeah.
You have to be energetic. You're marching up and down a hill quite a lot. So it's because it is on a farm, and the scary activities, take place away from camp. So you're always going back and forth. So that was my favorite experience from last year. And attractions. It's so hard. I can't even remember. So I should have brought it up. So we did a year in review at the end of last year, and I can't remember what I even put. I think York Maze was quite high on that list from memory. And that's one that stands out as like a more traditional kind of scare attraction, set of mazes. I thought the infrastructure was good. The way they do their safety briefing once at the beginning, and they make it a scene rather than just someone telling you the safety rules. So I thought that worked really well. And that really stands out. There was a few scenes and a few mazes where I was like, oh, that's good. I like that. And I think that was one that stood out.
That's cool. Yeah. So out of all these experience attractions, have you had a singular moment that stands out as the point you've been the most scared? Like the point where you thought, I have never been that terrified in my life?
Okay, so as I mentioned earlier, I'm not easily scared. I think I could explain it's the most uncomfortable I felt is probably a better.
That works.
So uncomfortable was a scene in Scream Camp, which I'm not going to go into in case they use it again.
Yeah, spoiler free.
Okay.
All I can
Yes,
say
please.
is, sorry.
Spoiler free, please.
Spoiler
Yeah,
free,
'cause
'cause some of us,
Yeah.
some of us are going. So
Yeah, I'll be going as well as soon as it's back. So all I can say is pitch black, lots of noises, not knowing what those noises were coming from or what they meant before you found out what they meant.
Oh.
I'll leave it at that. Yeah.
I like that.
So you had that
Interesting.
anticipation. So the way that they timed the experience was that you always went in, unless you were the first person, I guess. You went in and someone else was kind of finishing the experience.
Oh.
So you heard them experiencing it.
That's clever.
Which built up that tension, like not knowing what's going to happen. And yeah, I thought that was probably one of the scariest. And I have done more extreme attractions as well. And you know, it's a different kind of scare, like an extreme attraction. Like that's, am I going to get hurt, or I'm going to have to eat something gross. It's a different kind of scare. Now, at the moment, I enjoy that.
Yeah.
I imagine I might grow out of it. I'm building up to that. I haven't hit that crescendo of it's too much, and I've had enough.
Yeah.
But I'm still okay with an extreme attraction. But I think I will probably one day get to the point where I'm like, I don't want to eat something that tastes horrible, smells horrible. I don't want to put myself in an uncomfortable position.
Grubs.
Or sorry?
When you've eaten practically every, type of rotten grub.
It's like, oh yeah, maggots again. I've had this before. Pass the ketchup.
So I am doing cracks next year, but
yes.
I may regret doing that. I may never do one again after it. It's the last one, and I thought I've got to give it a go.
Yeah.
And I like all the immersive theatre stuff that Faceless Ventures have done, and if they wrapped around the kind of storytelling they have on all the other stuff, I'll probably enjoy it, even though I probably hate some of the experiences. Yeah. I will enjoy the storyline and why it's there, and if it's the end, I'm sure everything will wrap together and it will say why. And that's again going back to the theatre and the immersiveness of it, and that I think I'll like it. But the whole thing, I've tried to stay spoiler free for that. I know it's intense, and I know that it's not for everyone, and I want to find that out for myself rather than take someone's opinion on it.
That's
a good way to go into it, probably.
Yeah, and if I give up after half an hour, so be it. I tried.
It's an experience, isn't it?
At least you did it. At least you've done it.
Yeah, and I would say, like, for the record, anyone watching this, it's not for everyone.
Yeah,
absolutely.
We've had Faceless Ventures on. They've spoke about it. Yeah, definitely intense from what we've heard.
Yeah. And
where can you see that interview, Charlie?
Oh, you can see it on our YouTube channel, Zombie Infection, which can be found on our Facebook channel, Zombie Infection.
Which can be found on our Instagram channel.
So it seems like you're very much, you really like story kind of driven events, immersive events that really get you in there. Is there a event that you haven't done yet that you like dream to go to? Like probably not Hitchinborough House, like the really intense crazy one in America, something like that. Is there one you dream that you can go to?
Not McCamey Manor.
Oh, that's what I meant. Sorry, McCamey Manor. The House Manor, it gets in my head.
Some might call me crazy. I am not. No, not. That is beyond my. There's things that happen there that, like, the fact that there's no safe word and stuff just doesn't play well with me.
Yeah.
So one I've never done is Zombie Infection. So
There you go.
There you go.
There you go.
I would like to try it. And
Have you done a zombie event before?
Yeah, I've done the Wicked Experiences. I've done those a few times.
Yeah.
That's a good warm up.
It's more just location, really. I live down south, and I have to plan it, and it's that's the only reason I haven't been. It's
That's more
not
than
so convenient to go to, whereas
Not convenient for me, to be honest.
but I if I can plan it, so the way I did Halloween was that I planned weekends around like parts of the UK. So if I can plan things like that, then with my job I can work remotely quite easily. So I was able to work in a hotel in the day and then go to a scare attraction in the evening. So I didn't have to take loads of time off work, which is always handy.
Yeah, that's
So yeah, I it's definitely want to do. And I think that's probably in the UK. That's probably the main one that I haven't done that I'd like to do. If I'm talking worldwide, tons. Like Horrorland, everyone raved about Horrorland. It's just a shame. I probably could have made that out there as well, and I just didn't have the foresight to think, oh yeah, I'll go. I think that's one, and I'd really like to do. So I've done like Halloween Horror Nights and stuff, sort of Florida side. I'd like to go over the LA side and see how they do it and how they do Halloween. I'd like to go to some of the independent and some of the independent ones in America as well, like the ones that are just on a farm, and see how they do it and how they do it differently and how it's like Universal's very staged, sound effects, not much vocal stuff, whereas the independent ones are probably more vocal and a bit more homegrown. And I've seen quite a few documentaries on it, and it looks interesting and
a bit more raw.
It's America and Halloween go hand in hand, don't they? It's kind of famous for Halloween.
Funny you should mention documentaries, because Charlie, don't we have the UK Haunters documentary team on our podcast?
You're just so good at these plugs. So good at them. Yeah, we do.
They're called links, Charlie.
Yeah. Not next week, but the week after. Yeah, we'll have Dan from UK Haunters.
Were you guys involved with that? You obviously knew what was going on.
So we saw it. So we went to the premiere and we saw the premiere of it. Brilliant, really good. I thought it showed the UK scare attractions in it showed every aspect of them. So it went all the way from your more traditional all the way through to kind of cracked.
Yeah.
And I thought that was good. It highlighted the industry. And one thing that I came out of it, and I think the rest of the team did, was we'd like to see a second one.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's cool.
I think the industry is evolving so quickly these days that it's probably
and Dan was quite new to the UK scene of attractions, and I think now with the first one, once it's out and people see it, they'll be like, actually, this is my event would be quite interesting to be shown in this kind of documentary style, and I think you could uncover a lot more about the industry. There's so many layers, and why people act. That's an interesting question. Why do people act in scare attractions? What draws people to it? And versus
deceased.
They switched universes.
Yeah.
Oh, there she's back.
Sorry.
I think it's really good, and whenever you get a chance to watch it, highly recommend it, because it's definitely a worthwhile watch.
We should probably watch it before Dad's on.
Yes. Well, it's coming out in September, so.
All right. Well, I'm sure we can get a copy of it.
Yeah, I'll send a message.
We won't have much to talk about.
It's definitely worth watching. We all enjoyed it, and I'll watch it again once it's out on some kind of streaming platform.
Yeah, I mean, I'm excited to watch it because I'm just a massive. Even before I got involved with scare acting, I was such a massive nerd about everything. I was constantly Google what's it like to be a scare actor. But I was generally I was 11 years old Googling what's it like to be a scare actor, stories from scare acting and stuff, because I was that much of a nerd about it.
In that voice.
Yeah, that's how I sounded as a kid.
That was me when I got my first scare acting job, doing mass research before I started, so I knew what to expect.
Yeah. So Meg, do you have any questions at all?
Yeah. So, how many events have you or somebody from the scare directory team have actually been to since lockdown started easing?
So since easing, Stephen's been to Zombie Infection, and I've been to one just traditional escape room, not a scary one. We've been doing lots of virtual ones throughout lockdown. Some scary, some not. We've covered the scary ones on the website, and the ones that aren't scary, we've just enjoyed, and just had good times with friends. We found it a really good way of keeping in touch with our friends, and I think the group of us that have ended up doing the escape rooms have become a lot closer. And they were the first people I saw when lockdown was eased. Was that group who'd been doing the sort of
Nice.
well, that's a lie. Everyone that lived kind of south of Birmingham, we all met up and we went to randomly Poulton's Park, which is weird considering the home of Peppa Pig. It's
just couldn't wait.
The bigger theme parks were all fully booked, unfortunately, on the day we wanted to go. So Poulton's Park, and it's brilliant. It was a good theme park. I was pleasantly surprised, which is as a grown person.
Do they have a scare attraction there?
Not at the moment.
They should just do an alternative version of Peppa Pig, shouldn't they? A really dark version.
Peppa's
gone mental.
There's Peppa Pig horror games somewhere out there.
Okay.
There's Peppa Pig horror games somewhere out there. There's
Get out of it. No way.
Genuinely, there's a horror game of anything on the internet. You could just type it in, it will be there.
The thing is, my imagination is now running wild of Daddy Pig and Mummy Pig. It's just
that's just a pig. That's just a pig scare maze.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just rebrand it. You've got a pig mask and a chainsaw.
Yeah.
I doubt licensing.
Add the theme tune, and you're onto a winner. I'm out.
How to make a top class scare event.
Yeah.
There you go.
Anyway, so do you think you might be able to give us a number of roughly how many scare attractions you've been to?
Give me a second. I can give you a pretty much more accurate number on that.
Okay.
I this is me being the analyst in me.
I love that.
I need the actual number.
You've got to find the spreadsheet, categorise. Right.
No, I've got a blog post on it. That's the one I'll be able to find. Search Marie.
While you're searching for that, I keep thinking about this Peppa Pig thing. I can just imagine the Daddy Pig just being like, "It's Daddy Pig," and going with a fucking.
Probably can't.
Just demonic snorting, I think, is got to be just terrifying. If you down a hallway, you just
you just hear it and you're like.
I think the theme tune would scare me more. I can't stand it.
No.
I wouldn't even know that thing.
Peppa Pig.
A dubstep Peppa Pig.
Yeah.
Oh gosh, that is truly terrifying.
So as a team, we went through 170 scare mazes last year.
Oh wow.
And 64 different events. We drove 15,000 miles, which is crazy.
That's mad.
So and it'll be interesting. Like this year, I expected this year to go up, but with the current climate, I imagine that's going to be a little bit lower than last year, which is a shame. But it was a really good full year. I think if I was to sort of add up those that I went to before that, I'd say that number probably goes up to about maybe 80 different scare events. Probably, so I only really started going into it when I created the website, really passionately, and that was primarily because no one would ever go with me. So I've never interested any of my friends. So the people I go to scare attractions with now are people I've met by going to scare attractions.
Nice.
So
nice.
I did most of the last 2019 on my own. So Stephen and we only crossed paths at a handful of attractions. And the same with Josie and I. So Josie and I only actually went to a number together. It's weird how and that's why I didn't go to many before. Is I always had an interest and a passion for it, but I could never motivate friends to go because it's not their thing, and if it's not your thing, you're not going to have a good time. So I didn't want to force it. Now I've got a good group of people, and we can go to these things, and it's great.
So you've definitely seen the industry grow then over the last 5 years or so then.
It's unbelievable. Like, I think when I first started, like, sort of just like looking at stuff, I've always been interested in what's going on and happening. And it was the only thing that really spurred it on was seeing a poster for Tully's actually in the underground. I was like, I saw it one year, and they have a massive advertising campaign in the underground, like
huge, yeah.
And like that reminded, like, it's almost like I'd kind of forgotten about the industry a little bit. And that was a few years ago now when I had that, and I saw the poster, and it just reminded me. It's like, I love these things. Why aren't I doing more of these things? And the rest is almost history, really. I saw that poster. I did some research. I realised that, like, there was lots of good resources out there, but there wasn't that directory of everything. So great reviews on Scare Tour, brilliant. But I think the nerdy bit of me wanted to know, well, what mazes were they, and what was the theme of that maze? And like, sometimes a review will tell you that, sometimes a review won't. And I think that's what I was interested in. How long has it been running and all that sort of stuff? And that's kind of what spurred me to do this. And then doing that got me more into it. And then, I would say the rest is history. You know, I'll still happily go along to an attraction on my own if no one's available and no one's free. Like,
nice.
Like, people who work there think you're a bit strange, but it's fine.
They're just like, someone to pick on.
You can have some really great, like, especially if it's quiet night, you can have some really great interactions where they're not rushing to get the next group through, so you can have a bit you can have a bit of fun in there, and like, I'm quite happy to make a fool of myself. So, you know,
when they're on their own, you can really take your time with them. So it's like really freaky.
That is good.
What would you like to see more of?
I'd like to see more. So I like it when. So I like, as an observer, I like seeing groups split up. I like seeing people picked off, yelled out. So I can't remember, where was it? There was an attraction where I went, literally, it was like, you there, and everyone was sent a different way. And I think, you got a bit of it in Creep Street Massacre at Thorpe last year. People were just split up, and in a mainstream park, seeing that was great. You know, the fact that it didn't run it wasn't linear. You could go around there in different routes. I went through there about 5-6 times, and each time something different would have happened. And that's what I'd like to see more of: non-linear mazes, sending in you know, something that's like re-rideable. You know, you could go through multiple times, and every time would be different. I like that. I think that's something that's it depends. It's a good thing, like in a theme park where you've got, say, 5 mazes and you've got all day, and you can, you know, they open at 2, you can get on them quite a lot. I don't know if that would work so much at the smaller events, because when it's a busy night, you get to every maze once, really. Especially if you haven't got any fast pass or anything like that. You're one maze, you wouldn't have time. So I don't know if they'd necessarily benefit from that style of attraction. But I know that, like Thorpe, especially if people have annual passes and stuff, it works brilliantly. Because you can go back on a different day and have a different experience. Right.
I recently was chatting to the Scare Track guys, and which you can now find on their website. You can go and have a listen. I was chatting about the importance of something that has that replayability.
Yeah.
You know, that you want to do it over and over and over again. You know, and how important that is in the scare industry. I think it's a key factor.
Yeah, definitely. And I think I find that with Scare Kingdom, actually. Like, I've been through Manor Mortis quite a few times now, and I always notice something new every time I go through it. Even, you know, it's just an overlay over a different, you know, thing, but they can change the way you move around it. And it's been around for a while, but I still enjoy it. Again, that's a more theatrical kind of attraction than.
Yeah, I think it's easier. It's easier when it's immersive theatre, isn't it? Because it's improvisational theatre to a certain extent, in which you, especially in our events, you play off of the group dynamic that you have. And although we do have scripted, parts, we don't stick to those 100%. And, you know, it doesn't mean that if one of the things that we always try to really do is if a customer says, well, if a customer finds a loophole, we'll explore that loophole to the point in where they realise that it's not a loophole. Do you know what I mean? So we have we have that flexibility. You know, if someone wants to challenge us on, oh, well, why don't we go and do this? I'd be like, let's go. you know,
Yeah.
and it adds 5 minutes. It's immersive theatre. You're going to get shot by zombies, so you're getting the core ingredients of what makes the event anyway. So why not just take off for 5 minutes and explore a reasonable, you know, solution in that event? You know, like I said, so it's easier with improvisational immersive theatre really to have that flexibility.
So would you say that zombie infection it has replayability?
Well, this is what we do with our chapters thing. So all of our sites are obviously linked by this continuing chapter, and even though you'll meet different characters at different points in their lifetime across each chapter, but also the actors that then play our lead roles also change. So you might have me and Lucy do Sheffield, and then you might have Charlie and Callan do, you know, the last chapter down in the workshop. So, and again, like that adds another element of it being different than the way that you did it before, because Charlie might play someone that's a bit more clever, a bit more sharper, whereas we might have a character that's more about strength and power and guns. You know, so again, like a lot of our stuff, you're never going to get the same experience twice when you come to one of our events, and not to mention the fact that we change it every 5.
Yeah, that's very true. It's not only keeps the audience on their toes, it keeps us on our toes as well.
Yeah.
You say that crying a little bit.
Yeah. There's a new script to learn.
I guess that's the nature.
He's changed it again.
You don't know what the public are going to do you? You know, the public.
Exactly, yeah. Absolutely, yeah. And that's what I mean. I mean, with a group of 20 people, not so much these days, but, you know, it used to be 20 people. You don't know who you're going to get. So you might get people that are really into it and they help drive the story and they help you push it along. You might get people that are really difficult, like I said, and throw in challenges and stuff. So it's all of those elements sort of mixed together to make something unique.
Yeah, and I think that's exactly it. Like with immersive theatre, the group you're with can really make or break the experience. Like if you've got a group of people that are really into the thing, they'll just play along and have a good time, and then you can start going on tangents where like the people running the event can just sort of, you know, do something different, or you know, like change it up a bit. They'll improvise something that wouldn't necessarily happen on other nights.
Exactly. Yeah.
And I really like that when that does happen. And I get frustrated when that doesn't happen and you get people not willing to play along.
Yeah.
Like that's
we've had plenty of
come to this. Why come to an event like this if you're just going to
especially ours, like high ticket price, you know, like why are you here? We always over the years, corporate groups are the worst because you have people that have paid for you to be there, so they haven't spent the money themselves. You're going because it's a team outing, so it's not something you would do normally. So those people come into it and they're just like, oh, that's not real. Oh, no. And it's like, oh, guys, you're not helping me. Corporate groups are by far the worst groups.
I think that's quite common in a lot of industries. Like stand-up comedians, they hate the corporate gigs.
Yeah.
you know, like they don't want to tell jokes to people who sell taps. I think that's just the way it is. It's lots of people forced to be together at a thing that they don't necessarily want to do.
It would be like a lamb at the slaughter if a comedian tried to take on the scare industry as a corporate event. It would be horrific. Unforgiving.
We all have a wicked sense of humour.
Yeah. That is one thing I do like about the scare industry. The humour is and I quite enjoy that. I don't necessarily need constant scares. If you can make something funny, you've got me as well. Like it becomes a good attraction because you made me laugh. Yeah. I've been to some attractions. It was it was RuPaul. It was one of the few I went to this year. RuPaul's Drag Queens. It was at Scare
RuPaul's
Kingdom.
Drag Race.
That sounds good.
Yeah. It was a parody on basically the Drag Race.
Oh, wow.
And it was so good. It was so funny. It was silly, but in all the right ways.
Yeah.
And it wasn't scary,
fun,
but it was a great Valentine's night out.
Oh, it sounds excellent.
Oh dear.
So
that does sound good.
Have we got any more questions, Meg, Gregory, or is Saz ready to bring upon
Is Saz around?
Yeah, she is. She should be around.
Yeah.
Although streams do have a minute or so delay, so she'll pop on like, "Oh, hi guys, yes."
Show that Peppa Pig picture.
Oh yeah, I was about to say. So Googled the Peppa Pig thing, and there is a Peppa Pig horror game. You won't be able to see it on the Discord, so it sounds a bit weird. But yeah, there's.
Just share your screen.
Yeah, I'm sharing my screen. There's a Peppa Pig. There's like mini YouTube series about Peppa Pig being evil. There's a Roblox game, which Peppa Pig's evil. I mean, it looks demonic.
I bet you could redub it, couldn't you, and make quite an interesting, quite a funny episode. You just revoice the whole thing.
Oh yeah, for sure. Now you've just given me ideas that are going to happen. Stay tuned next week. Peppa Pig redubbed. So hi, Saz.
Hi, Saz.
Hi, guys.
Oh.
It's time.
Hi.
So
It is
basically,
time. I just popped up for you.
we play a game on our podcast called One Fateful Night, but I'm not the one who does this. It's old Sazza Rooney. Take it away, Saz.
Okay, so one fateful night. That night is a full moon. It is blood moon. It's the darkest night that there ever was. You have been doing absolutely everything possible to conjure, to annoy, and to disturb the dark forces.
I think
So
that's my favourite thing about this is Saz.
You've been
doing the intro.
sending notes. You've been watching dodgy VHS tapes that from like 50 years ago. Well, not quite that long. And you have no idea what you have called upon, but there is now somebody or something after you. You have got 2 chances to live through this night. One villain will be after you. If you manage to survive them, there will be a second.
Ooh.
Great.
Hyping it up.
And then, if you survive them, you have survived the night. But a lot of people have died during this fateful night.
Who's died?
And I hope that you're not going to be one of them. So what you do with this game is, first of all, you've got to decide if you're going to run, fight, or hide. Then you shall pick one of these cards and find out what weaponry system you have got to fight against this evil. And then, depending on whether you simply lame them, I'll give you 1 point. If it's a complete KO, it's 2 points. Or if it's the full, if you can't actually KO them because they can't be killed, then it's the best answer that I've got written down. You get 2 points. If you simply entertain me, you might get extra points as well. And
Did we have someone? They had a Disney song and they won the
Yes.
full points because they sung the Disney song. I love that.
Yeah,
I think that was Callum.
Yeah.
That might have been Callum.
Yeah.
if you sing and dance, then
Saz,
I'm amenable
you get
to
4
that.
points from Saz. Yeah.
Right.
Right.
Okay.
Right
I'll give you a bet.
then. Ash, would you like to go first, or would you like to see how it's done by someone else first?
I'll see how it's done first.
Okay, Greg, would you like to go first?
I'm not going to do it. The girls can do it.
Oh, you're not going to do it? Okay.
We'll be here all night.
Well, Meg, would you like to run, fight, or hide?
Run, please.
You're going to run.
Oh,
And
God,
what
I'm
card
gonna
would you like to
die.
pick? So we've got top
Can I
row,
get-
middle row, bottom row.
The one that says help, please.
Help.
Top right. Yeah.
Ooh,
Help.
you have got
Okay.
one
Okay,
Mr.
I can-
Norman
I can do
Bates.
this.
Mr. Norman,
You have got
Better-
Mr. Norman Bates, and you've decided
Mr.
to
Bates.
run.
lock your bathroom door.
Run
So
for
let's
the
have a
Norman.
little spin.
What have we got?
Ooh, you've got name and incantation.
Oh.
That's not really going to do
Shit.
that much for Norman Bates, but
Bible.
you are
I'm
running.
I'm legging it.
So
He's
I'm going to
human,
give you
he can't
1 point
teleport.
for that.
Mm.
Because he's
1
not,
I'm not
point.
dead.
you know, he's not got any superhuman powers or anything like that. So we're going to give you 1 point. You've just about survived.
I'm doing better. I died the last 2 weeks in a row.
You're
Charlie,
alive.
what would you like to go for?
Fight, please.
And where would you like to go on the board?
Bottom left, please.
Bottom left. You have got Frankenfurter.
Oh, yeah, he can kill me anytime.
Oh.
So you've decided to fight him. Let's see what your weapon is. A wet fish.
He likes wet things.
Yeah, I don't think that's quite going to float his boat. I mean, if you had a sexy man, then
You might have been alright.
you might have been all right, but
Yeah,
You're-
grab Rocky, throw him, and then get out of there.
you're dead
Rocky at him
today,
and get out.
Charlie.
It's alright. It's the
Nah.
first time I've died. So I'm
Okay, are you ready?
Yeah,
Got the idea of the game?
I think so. Right, I'm gonna.
Brilliant.
So
Run,
I'll fight.
hide, or fight?
I'll fight.
You're going to fight. And where would you like to go on the cards?
The one with 3 drops of blood on it.
Fantastic. And I was listening to the podcast. You'll like this one.
Woo!
Go
No,
This one is clearly
great.
just for you.
Nice.
This is not a fix.
It genuinely isn't. You can't fix this game. Oh.
It looks like that's
That's
wet fish.
It is sort of on the wet fish again, I'm afraid.
I reckon no,
Well,
that's not bad.
I reckon, to be honest, if he came in with a knife
You
and I
could...
just
Yeah.
flipped the
What type of fish is it?
Good point.
Yeah.
Yeah, what fish is it?
like a
Just
big
says wet
shark.
fish.
Yeah, is it
I'll
a
let you
shark?
Shark
decide
in there,
what
I'm
fish
just-
it is if you entertain me.
Yeah, just like
Sorry.
Knock the
I
knife
missed
out
that.
of his hand.
Yeah,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah. And knock the knife out of his hand.
is it a
Because
shark with a laser beam
I-
on it?
I'll
Swordfish.
use the shark teeth.
A sword.
Swordfish? Good point.
I'm rather entertained by everything going on there as
Jeez.
well.
A
So I think you
dolphin?
knocked him out to the point you've survived.
Oh, a dolphin's not a fish, is it?
No.
And let's be
Oh,
honest,
okay.
the guys who are Ghostface, they're not the brightest, are they?
No.
That's
They're not.
true.
No, they're
Yeah.
dumb.
They're just
They're dumb.
teens. They're just like.
Yeah.
You could just sneak up
You
on them
throw
and
him
go
off.
boink.
We're gonna
It's
go.
very
We're gonna
much,
go
yeah.
a full 2 points there with
Hey,
that one.
Take that.
Nice.
Okay.
There's definitely a bit of ingenious deciding to actually full on whack 'em with the wet fish.
Have you not seen Monty Python? It's tactical.
There you go. Yeah.
Thank you.
And
Monty Python.
Meg, you have survived, so you get to go
Okay.
one more time. So what we're going
I've
for?
done
Run,
this
fight, or
yet.
hide?
I've never done it, so I'm gonna fight.
Oh.
always been- I've always been a chicken, so I'm gonna just do it. Why not?
Nice.
Okay, and where
Okay.
would you like to go?
Can I get the 2 blood drops, please?
2 blood drops, of
Oh
course.
god.
Oh dear. You have
What?
got a Demogorgon.
Oh fuck.
You need superpowers for that.
Pretty
I
much.
need
There is
time
only
travel.
one.
Hail Mary.
Yeah, Biokinesis is on there. Hail Mary.
Time travel?
Time travel is also an option.
Oh.
So let's have a look, see what you get.
What's biokinesis?
I'm fucked. Bye.
Biogenetics?
Biokinesis.
What is that?
Biokinesis is what 11 uses to kill
Oh.
the Demogorgon.
Oh, that makes
Gotcha.
sense.
Telekinesis.
It's a super powered kid in Stranger Things, basically.
Powered kid. It's
But
biokinesis.
but it's like
Biokinesis.
like
No, that's
bioengineers.
bullshit. I'm calling bullshit.
What did I get?
Bullshit.
What did I get? Tell me.
Piglet.
Put me out of my misery.
You got holy substance, and that will do nothing. You are
No.
dead.
Oh, rest in
Oh.
Bye, guys.
pieces.
Down to you, Ash. The fate of the universe
Ash,
is
will
in
you
your hands.
survive? Will you survive? Run, fight, or
Right.
hide?
I'll hide this time.
Oh, you're gonna hide.
Good choice.
There are a few that is your best option. And where would you like to go on the board?
bottom
Got
left.
top row left.
What is bottom left? He said.
Yeah,
What is
left.
left?
My left. My left.
Our left.
So right.
Which
Other
is,
way.
yeah,
That one.
Yeah.
That
As
one.
you look at it,
Yeah.
left. Yeah.
Okay, we have got Leatherface.
Yeah. Good.
Ooh.
Hide.
Yeah.
There you
Ah.
go. Got a
Just
nice
the
Leatherface.
confirmation.
Just look at how pretty they are.
There's another
Now,
face.
pretty much, invisibility cloak is your best option, but you might just about be able to survive depending on how quiet you are. Jazz hands here will not help you, so
Wet
let's not be
fish.
clever.
Wet fish 2.0.
Wet fish, you might be able to smell you. Right, let's go for it. You have an axe.
Ah. You can lock the
I think you
cupboard
can.
with that.
Yeah.
You ain't gonna beat
Yeah.
a chainsaw, though, yeah.
Yeah, I could lock myself in somewhere.
It's
And then I've
quiet.
got-
Hack the
I've
door
got some
handle off.
protection. I've got protection in case he did try and
Yeah.
get me as well.
True.
Exactly.
I could try my best. I haven't got.
You
much
could
chance
throw
to
it
beat the game.
from the hiding position
Yeah.
into his
Yeah.
back.
What if I hit up? No, I was going to say hide up a tree. Ignore that.
Yeah, the worst place to
With a
hide
chainsaw.
if you're being chased with a guy with a chainsaw.
Right, so you're going to get 1 point for that because you have survived, but you haven't killed him. And you haven't gone for the best option, which is the invisibility cloak. So you get 3 points for tonight altogether.
Well done.
Whey.
Hey.
Also,
Nice one.
Saz, I googled biokinesis. That is when you can change your appearance with your mind. So like,
Boom.
it's
I called it.
it's telekinesis. It's like
Yeah, of course it's
Mystique.
telekinesis.
Mystique is like biokinesis.
Genuinely, Google.
She
I
just
did.
did.
I just
I
googled.
googled it. Google had me wrong then.
We did.
I'm sorry.
Biokinesis.
Well, this has been
Somebody
good
put it
though.
wrong on a Wikipedia page or something then.
Probably.
got
I did
people in
Google
bikinis.
it, I swear.
Oh,
I knew it was one of the kinesis.
yeah.
There
Well,
we go.
what's our final scoreboard? What have we got so far for our guests on our
So-
scoreboard?
Yeah.
Ash is at 3
Hell
and Mikey's at 3, so they're our top guests.
yeah. Woo!
I'm not sure what our guests
Nice.
got last week.
There was no
Whilst I was
one
on
last
holiday.
week. It was just us.
Oh yes, that's fine then. And Charlie is still our home winner.
Oh, me?
She's on this the
All
most.
together.
No one
Yeah.
needs to know that.
Yeah.
Isn't that Charlie from Shepton Malin?
No, me.
No, that Charlie.
I'm the home winner.
It's Charlie.
Because you're always
You're
on the
home
podcast.
winner
Exactly.
with 9 points altogether because you're always on. So you know
Yeah,
you've
How
played your
many
most.
have I got now?
6.
You are on a full
many have I
6,
got?
Meg.
Not bad. I
Yeah.
did have like 2 weeks of dying on night 1, so
I can still see my
Yeah.
name on there. I've
Yeah.
got 5.
You've got 5. You
You've
did
got
well.
5, Greg, and you've only had 3 goes. Meg's had
lots.
8 altogether. Charlie's also had 8 spins together.
For anyone that's a regular on the podcast, Saz, you should deduct the amount of times via points that they've done it to their score, I think. And
I
end up
was going
with
to do
more
this, and
winner.
then I thought it might get too complicated.
That's just sad.
Yeah, divide it by how many times they've played, and then you've got a nice.
Exactly, yeah.
That's fair.
Nice
That's
normalised
fair.
There we go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep, we'll do that then.
But yeah, this has been fantastic. Thank you so much,
Yeah.
Ash, for joining us.
Thank you ever so much, Ashley. It's great
Thank
to
you.
chat.
That's right.
Yeah,
worries
I've
at all.
really enjoyed listening as well.
That's cool.
Hopefully, we'll see you to a ZI event soon.
Yeah,
Yeah, absolutely.
Fingers
I
crossed.
will try and get myself down to one soon.
Yeah.
that'd be awesome. So thank you so much, guys, for tuning in. This podcast will
Thank
be
you,
available
guys.
on YouTube. Be sure to check out our socials, which are conveniently down below. So yeah, thank you so much, and farewell, guys. Bye bye.